So, you want to change your life. You feel like the level you've currently reached isn't your full potential. New Year's is coming up. What's the game plan? Making another goals 2020 something list without actually changing anything and just hoping that this year will be different? Because I've been there before. I made the lists only to be disappointed in myself. But I was able to change that narrative, and I really wanted to make this video now in December because I would hate for someone to feel the way that I did for the upcoming year, while I now have the tools to show you how I changed my life, knowing that you can do that too. Because I promise that if you do the same, you will be able to change your life. I promise that you'll notice a difference in a short amount of time. Everything starts with personal accountability. So this is when you take full responsibility for the current situations in your life and being honest about it with yourself. The reason why I start with this one is because unless you take ownership of your problems and your entire life, they will just happen to you, and you can't address these issues because you have no power to influence it. If you're interested in this topic, then read the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I listened to this one years ago in the gym, and I'm not even kidding you, I was able to lift 10, maybe even 20% harder after reading it. If you need to work on personal accountability, then start by accepting responsibilities for little things and do them as soon as possible. And then once this is no longer an issue, you can move on to the bigger things. So for example, make your bed after you wake up. Do your skincare, put the dishes away. Like, this is how you build the foundation. It doesn't matter how long it takes you before you actually build this foundation. This is key. Once you're able to take care of the little everyday things, now you can move on to the bigger things. And then when you trust yourself that you can even get the most annoying or unpleasant jobs done, you know that you are capable of changing whatever needs to be changed in your life to get ahead. And knowing that will boost and build your self-confidence. If you don't hold yourself accountable for anything, nothing will change. Like, you can just click this video away because nothing will change for you. Accountability is basically power. Being accountable means that you take that power back and that you know that you are responsible for your life and you are able to change it. You need to know what the direction of your life is, because you can be in a super fast car, but if you're driving into the opposite direction of where you want to be, there is no point. You have to sit down and ask yourself what you want to achieve from this life. What are your goals? Is your dream life to travel the world and experience all cultures? Do you want to earn as much money as possible so you can provide for your family? Do you want to find your dream partner and start a family? It doesn't have to be one or the other. I'm telling you, don't limit your mind here. There are people right now living your dream life coming from worse circumstances than you. There are people right now living your dream life that aren't even as smart as you. So why can't it be you? It can. You just have to know for yourself that you can. What is key here is visualization. I know this often looks like you're just writing things down or thinking about things, waiting around for them to happen magically to you. But that's not really how visualization works. You have to still put in the work. But I truly, truly believe that the energy that you put out is the energy that you attract. It's training your subconscious mind to focus on the end goal or outcome of what you want to achieve. Be grateful for everything that you do have. Every time I think about what I'm grateful for, I try to go about it as if that is all I have left tomorrow. When you go about it that way, there is a lot to be grateful for. There is something about your energy that shifts when you truly think about what you are grateful for. You are on a high frequency, which also attracts that type of energy. So going back to living your dream life, when visualizing, don't just think about your dream life, but think about how you would feel living your dream life. People also don't realize that you already visualize. Like, most people already do. But if you talk negatively about yourself, about other people, about your situation, and you're stuck in the past, then how can you move forward? Like how? If you are on a low frequency and you're very negative, how can you attract positive things? You have to try to switch the narrative around and start thinking and visualizing about your dream life so that when the fast car is here, you can actually get in and get to your destination. After thinking about your dream life, you have to think about the person who lives that dream life. Study that person in your mind. Like, how would that person behave? What boundaries does that person have? What does that person have to sacrifice in order to maintain that lifestyle? What characteristics does that person have? What type of energy? How would their day look like? Everything. I used to hear people say, think about the highest version of yourself and then show up as that person. But I never really got what they meant by it, like the full intention behind it. But from my perspective, you now have this clear vision of what that person living your dream life looks like. So now you have to do this translation of showing up as that person, like showing up as your highest self. And I think that embodying your goals and dream life into a persona helps a lot with visualizing, first of all, but second, with really making sure that all your actions are aligned with your goals. So for example, if my goal is to lose weight, which it isn't, but if it is, I don't necessarily think about my goal when I am driving my car to the supermarket. Like, I'm not thinking about my goal when I'm writing down my to-do list for that day. But when I think about the highest version of myself and how she behaves and acts, I would think about it driving my car, and I would think about it when I'm writing down my to-do list. And this is what sets you up for success. So sit down, think, what is the highest version of myself? Write it down. Envision who you want to be. It's really good to keep in mind what your strengths are, because this puts you in an advantage. Like, taking this back to personal accountability, I'm a really bad singer. Like, it's great that I want to be the next Beyonce, but I won't be because I suck. And yes, I can become better at singing if I take lessons, etc. But I mean, I can visualize my entire life away trying to become Beyonce, but I won't become Beyonce. So what are your strengths? What I always think is super interesting is that in high school or in university, you are celebrated more when you get good grades for all courses compared to when you're the 1% at one thing, but absolutely suck at all the others. And I think it works the other way around in the real world, because when I'm looking for a coach or a trainer, I want the best one available in my area. I don't want a good coach who's also good at cooking or good at singing, because I don't care. Like, that's not important for me. And I think that you have to know what you're good at. Like, you don't even have to be talented. I think you're actually at an advantage when you don't have a talent, because you have to work twice as hard. But it has to be something that you can become obsessed about. Okay, so now you've thought about your dream life and what your highest version of yourself would look like when you're living your dream life. So now it's time to put in the actual work. So look at people who are in the top level of what you're interested in. Study them. Look what they do. Look what they don't do. Look what sacrifices they have to make, because this really is the time to become obsessed and to become focused. And I don't mean like copy people, because that's not being the highest version of yourself, but you can look at the blueprint of other successful people and see what traits they have that you could have as well. Because I think it's important to stay focused here. Don't get distracted by things that don't serve you or help you towards your main goals. I need to remind myself this one every single day. I like to think about my goals as a tree. This isn't fully in line with nature, but bear with me. It's a good analogy. So you have an X amount of energy. You put all this energy into this tree. This tree grows and grows and grows, and it becomes bigger. But as time passes, there are more and more distractions coming your way. Things that don't actually serve the bigger goal, but when you're not focused, you will take on these opportunities or obligations. And this tree now gets branches. Energy is flowing away from this main tree into all these little branches. And these branches obviously cost energy to grow. So that means that the actual growth of the tree, your main goal, slows down. How to make it grow again? Cut off the branches and redirect your energy. Focus. Let go of what doesn't serve you so you can be the best in what does. Now this is hard. If I apply this to my life, my goal is to have the best fitness app out there. If that is my goal, then that means that I need to let go of everything that doesn't help me towards that goal. That meant that I had to make some hard decisions, and I'll continue to have to make very hard decisions moving forward. But that is my goal. And I need to stay focused. If you want to achieve big things, you need to become resilient. This is the ability to adapt to difficult situations and still keep going. The more you ask, the more you need to go through. If it was easy, everyone would have it. So one of my key things to build this resilience is by going to the gym. Why? Because if you start your day by pushing yourself physically and mentally, you're better able to deal with all the punches of the day. Training your mind to push through, even if it's hard, even when it might hurt, relatively speaking, that's like hardening your mind in the same way as you develop the calluses to harden your hands. After visualizing your dream life, showing up as your highest version and staying focused while working towards your goals, you'll reach this gray area. It's called the dip. It's basically where you feel like you're not actively progressing, even though you're doing every single thing that you should be doing. I think it's most common for people to think of progress in terms of a staircase. So it's like taking one step of input that relates to one step of output. The dip is basically where you put in a lot of input over a long period of time, and then eventually you'll get the output. But you have to become resilient in order to be able to survive the dip and to be able to put in the work long enough to eventually reap the benefits of your effort. And then the last point that I wanted to talk about today is building your confidence. If you're confident, you'll believe that you can achieve what you set your mind to. Building your self-confidence will change your life. The best way to build your confidence is not by buying things or getting a certain amount of likes on a post. It's by keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Confidence isn't loud. Confidence is silent. It's knowing that you don't have to speak because you don't need to impress others, but it's listening and it's learning. Start small. So make changes to your diet, stick to an exercise routine, or get up at a certain time. Again, personal accountability plays an important role here. And then you can build from there. If you live up to these principles, then I promise you that you'll be able to change your life. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. And I'll talk to you in my next video.